Welcome to the September Garrison update. We have a packed agenda today. It seems to be getting more packed each month, so that's a good thing. Lots of information to put out there. I would like to thank the Red Cross for providing coffee. We very much appreciate that. Don't forget to visit the booths. Don't forget to visit the information booths that are in the back. And then also we do record this, so if you have a question, please wait for Mr. Wegley to come to you with the mic so that we can capture your question. At this time, I'm going to hand it over to Colonel Duncan, and he'll get us kicked off. Thank you.
Good morning again. It is, as you all know, it is September 11th. So before we start, this is not on the agenda, but I do want to take a very brief second, and Chaplain Randy Brandt is gonna lead us for just a second in a moment of silence and a moment of remembrance. We no longer do, sort of massive ceremonies here. That was an intentional decision after the 10-year mark, but obviously we do want to remember that time.
18 years ago, our world changed, and I was watching the news this morning, and a lot of the news networks, many of you probably did that as well, just focusing on the remembrance activities that are going on in the Pentagon, going out in the field in Sharpsburg, Pennsylvania, and the towers in New York. So a lot of folks are pausing today, and it's very appropriate that we do the same. So will you join me in just a moment of silence as we remember all those who lost their lives and all those families still grieving 18 years later, and all of us that are serving with new purpose because of what happened 18 years ago. Moment of silence, and then I will say a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we do remember, and we will never forget how our lives and the lives of so many others were changed 18 years ago. And we pray for all of those families that were immediately impacted, and all of the families of the service members and first responders, and those victims and their families that their lives were changed forever. We pray that you would bring them strength and comfort on this day as they remember their loved ones. We pray for all of those who are still in harm's way because of what happened 18 years ago. A lot of our comrades in arms. And many of us have lost friends and family because of what has happened in this continuing war on terrorism. And we pray for the resolute hearts that we need to continue moving forward, continuing mission on protecting our nation, protecting our freedoms, protecting our families. We pray your blessing on all of our leaders as they move forward and guide our nation. Bless our leaders, our families, and our nations. I pray this in your holy name. Amen.
All right, thanks, Chaplain. We live in an amazing nation, right? And we're still figuring out how to take care of those first responders. We're still working with some of those issues. We are still, unfortunately, we had a dignified transfer yesterday of Sergeant First Class Ard back to his family here, his first group family and his family. So we are still we are still dealing with this every day, and we know that more than most here on Joint Base Lewis McChord. All right, I am not going to talk much. Let's go straight into some recognizing three outstanding people, though, from three different directorates. So which one do we have first? DES. Directorate of Emergency Services, if you're not familiar with that acronym. Our first responders. Hey, Captain.
Garrison, sure.
Thanks.
I'll bring him on up.
Yeah.
Come on, Chad. Hey, buddy.
See you, Chad.
Department of the Army, Chad W. Burlingame was presented the Achievement Medal for Civilian Service in recognition of his distinguished performance on 10 August 2019 while serving as the Department of the Army Lead Security Guard for his prompt actions to safely and efficiently identify, remove, handcuff, and detain 4 presumed armed and dangerous subjects attempting to enter Joint Base Lewis-McChord. Mr. Burlingame's quick and decisive actions prevented potential injury to fellow law enforcement, other personnel in the gate area, and the subjects, ensuring Joint Base Lewis-McChord remains safe and secure. Mr. Burlingame's actions reflect great credit on him, the Director of Emergency Services, Joint Base Lewis-McChord of the United States Army, dated this 11th day of September 2019, signed Sky D. Duncan, Colonel Commanding.
Thank you for protecting us every day. Sure appreciate it. Thanks, Captain. Good job. Appreciate it. Here comes Ms. V, Ms. Venetia from MWR. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So MWR would like to recognize an employee, Sierra Cates. She's one of our Child Youth Services employees, and she's the Assistant Director of the School Age Center on McChord. And so we all know what it feels like when the supervisor above you leaves and you're kind of left holding the bag. And Sierra did an outstanding job for 7 months, keeping not only the program running and making sure the facility was providing all the services that it needed to, but she helped in part move into a brand new building that's being renovated, Building 3032. So we just wanted to take a second to recognize her, say, job well done, thank you for all your hard work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Our families depend on those services every day. Nearly every one of our families, probably all you all. Come on up, sir. Right here is fine. Okay.
Great, thank you, and thank you for taking time out to invite us. I'm here today representing the Regional Health Command Pacific. My name is Thomas Hoffer. I am the EEO advisor for the Pacific region. Earlier this year, we had Ms. Shaw and Ms. Lau from your EEO office come out and provide some specialized EEO training to our staff. And so with that, I'd like to read an award from our Commanding General. From the Commanding General, Regional Health Command Pacific, Joint Base Lewis-McChord, dated 11 September 2019. Dear Ms. Shaw, thank you for sharing your expert knowledge on equal employment opportunity in your presentations to the Regional Health Command Pacific staff. Your professionalism and subject matter expertise contributed greatly to building our soldiers and civilians' knowledge on EEO processes and procedures. Again, I offer my sincere congratulations for your commitment and service to EEO and the JBLM community. Signed, Dennis P. Lemaster, Major General, United States Army, Commanding General. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thanks, sir. Oh, you want to come back up? Real quick photo? Sorry.
That was almost
We
ugly.
got you. Here, let me get you in. All right.
Hey everybody, Bobby Langford, Operations Group Commander, here on behalf of my boss, Colonel Curran. I just want to say thank you to everybody in this room for your great support. As you guys know, we celebrated the Air Force's birthday, fantastic turnout, nearly 400 people, and just a great time at the Tacoma Center. And we do that on top of hurricane relief missions, worldwide deployments, worldwide exercises that some of you guys are part of right now. In addition to Air Mobility Command's premier exercise, if you guys were here back in 2017 when we brought over 50 airplanes and several thousand people here to the installation. That is going on right now. Our friends in Spokane are taking care of it, but it is air mobility. It's our premier exercise that gets us ready for the next fight. But like I said, we can't do any of that without your help and your support. So on behalf of Colonel Curran, thank you for everything you do, and hope to see you guys out flying with us real soon. See you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Omar Lomas. I wanted to take a moment this morning to introduce myself to you. I'm the new commander of the 42nd Military Police Brigade, also the new Director of Emergency Services and Director of the Northwest Regional Confinement Facility here on JBLM. Before I turn it over to Mr. Solnar, I just want to let you know that in my short time here in command and as the director, I can tell you that we've got one of the best directors of emergency services across the Army. I've been blessed to work at DESs at Fort Hood, at Fort Riley, and in Hawaii, and this one by far is the best. And with that, we have heard, in my 50 days that I've been around, I've heard various discussions about some of the issues we have here on JBLM. And I've had discussions with Colonel Duncan. Just be ready, because we're going to start going after some speeders that are out there. We're going to start doing some more targeted enforcement on inattentive drivers. That's, cell phones and electronic devices and folks just not paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. So I've revamped the training that our MPs undergo to have more radar-certified MPs to run more radar out in the vicinity of our schools and our housing areas. So those are just a few things that I've seen in my initial assessment as a new director here on JBLM. We're going to get after it. So with that, if you have any questions, I'll be back there by the 42nd table, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Solnar.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. To kind of caveat all that, one of the major problems we have across the installation are abandoned vehicles, abandoned property, boats, RVs, camper trailers, engine blocks, you name it, filling up all of the unit training areas, or unit areas. If you look at the photographs up in the upper, I guess it would be your right in this, that is an example of what we're seeing across the entire installation. Virtually every unit area and a lot of the public parking areas along the installation has got this kind of thing in it. A lot of vehicles that are in various states of disrepair that have not been re-registered in some cases in several years. A lot of boats, a lot of RVs, a lot of trailers. None of that is authorized to be in the unit areas. So this is kind of step one in a bigger initiative to start a public information campaign to let folks know that this stuff's got to be moved. If you look through unit areas, you're going to start seeing orange tags popping up on these things as we make a concerted effort to identify them. Between this month and next month, we're going to continue the process of identifying where these are and start the process of getting them removed, identifying the owners, contacting the owners, trying to get it moved. If we can't validate who the owner is, there's a process by which we'll start getting these things towed. On 15 October, I'm going to bring a fleet of tow trucks onto the installation, and everything that's still out there that we haven't been able to identify an owner and get it moved, those tow companies are going to latch onto and pull out of here. Once they get pulled out of here, they go down to that tow company lot. That tow company officially owns it, and eventually it gets auctioned off. We will work very closely with units because some of this property belongs to soldiers who are deployed. If you have something sitting in your unit area and you know that belongs to a deployed soldier or service member that is not going to be back for an extended period of time, let us know that. We'll set that aside. We won't mess with it. If you can help us get it moved, great. But we don't want to take equipment or property that belongs to somebody that's deployed and then tow it, because ultimately within 30 days of it being towed, it will be sold. So there's some contact information on here. Please let us know if you've got this in your unit area. Please let us know, help us identify it. The more information we can get, the quicker we can get this cleaned up. And then I'm going to request your assistance, because every year we go through this, there's about 450 pieces of equipment we've already identified. A year from now, there'll be another 400 to 450 right back in the lot. So I'm going to also request your assistance as this shows up in your unit areas. Please help us identify it. Please help us get it moved so I don't have to do this again, because it costs a great deal of money to do this. Any questions for me? Thank you very much. I'm going to hand it to you. Who's next? DPW's next.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Tim Scheffler. I'm the Deputy Director for Military Deputy for the Department of Public Works. And we're going to walk through a couple of slides here. Really for the MilCon overview, the big takeaways that I want to point out. By Christmas 2020, the new exchange should be open for business. So put that on your calendars to have a new place to shop. Candlewood Suites is looking to be open for business by January 2020. And then lastly, the entertainment center that's down at the bottom of the FY18. Avies is working through a prioritized list, and there's an entertainment center that they're working through at Fort Bragg. They get that awarded, and then we're going to start looking at doing this one. So there's a lot going on the installation, and we're working through it. Slide. So there is a road closure that's primarily affecting the 1st Special Forces Group, and this will facilitate some of a better traffic movement within the area, and particularly a fire response from the fire station that's actually right there underneath the red. And that's a road closure. So not for road work, just a road closure. This is OBE, it already happened. And, go back one. And so this is an ongoing effort to repair the railroad crossings on various parts of this road. We're basically making sure that the road crossing and the railroad intersection is a little more seamless. So this is an ongoing effort, 16 to 27 September. Questions? All right, and then another one, we're going to be doing a lot of work within the Banana Belt to address some sanitary sewer issues. So you're going to see a lot of flaggers out there. You'll see one-lane roads. That way, while we're doing work on either side of the road to be able to upgrade, repair, and modernize some of that infrastructure that's in that area. Are there any questions? And then lastly, this has been going on for a while with regards to D-block demolition, and I think February 2020 is where we're looking at wrapping up some of that demolition activity. So I-5, something that we're probably all intimately aware of. Just a couple of key things that I want to be able to point out. So moving from 3 lanes to 4 lanes on a 6-mile stretch, and there's 3 phases or stages. This is stage 2 going through June of 2021. And exit 122, that's the Madigan gate. And I wrote the dates down, and now the dates are escaping. Mr. Perno, what was it April? Was for the spring of 2020 for the Madigan gate is when we're looking at a lot of that. And that will alleviate some of the I-5 backup due to that gate usage. And then the other one that I want to be able to point out is the Log Center gate at exit 123. And that will be later on, following fall in 2020. And then stage 3, again, this is September of 2021 through September of 2024. So we're looking long-term in terms of this. This is DuPont, so it's a little bit further south. And that's essentially where you see the color change. That's where your stages are changing on the I-5 construction. Massive project, $450 million. There's a lot going on with this project. So. And then I believe that is it. Questions?
Morning, everybody. I'm Master Sergeant Chad Wallace from the 627th Logistics Readiness Squadron. I'm one of the 2 projos that's leading the 62nd Air Wing's POW MIA Remembrance Week. Just kind of let you know some items that are coming up and kind of what we have going on. The 2 dates to remember is the 19th and the 20th of September, which is next week. We're going to kick everything off with the wreath laying ceremony. That's going to start at 0900. at Memorial Grove, which is right next to the McChord Club. All the events are going to be right there in that same area where the track field is for the Fitness Activity Center, and as well as the Memorial Grove, excuse me. It's all going to be right there in that area. So we're going to start that off at 0900. We're going to raise the leaf to, in honor of our POWs and MIAs that are not able to be with us. And then afterwards, I know it's down at the bottom, but we're going to immediately follow that off with a motorcycle ride. So anybody, please brief out to your units. If you have motorcycle riders, we are going to be going from the parking lot there at Memorial Grove and the McChord Club out to Soldiers Home out in Ording. It's going to be a nice ride out there, and then once they get there, there's going to be a lunch provided and for all the people there. And then, of course, our big long-lasting event is our 24-hour Remembrance Run. We're looking to try to get as many participants as possible. We're looking for 24-hour coverage on the FAC track. There is a registration for $10. That $10 includes a POW MIA t-shirt, which I don't have a picture up here for you, but that's what that includes. There is also free registration. It's open to any DOD ID card holder and their families if they want to go out there and run. However, you do have to register at the Eventbrite website. So you just go in there and you can either select the free ticket or the paid $10 one. That way you can select your t-shirt and we can get you one for the day that you run. So, please, I ask that you brief this out and you send this message out to everybody. It's not just it's obviously an Air Force event that we've been doing for many years, but this year we'd love to try to get our Army partners on as a joint base over there to participate in it. We'd really like that, and to have that kind of participation and numbers to come out there to support the event. Any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Hey, good morning again. Alicia Grady, Director of Personnel and Family Readiness. We've got a lot going on in September. Most notably, this is our 6th annual Career Summit. This is a big deal here. If you're not tracking, the partnership we have with Hiring Our Heroes originated here. And so we are proud to announce this again. It's a 2-day event. Day 1 of this event gives you opportunities to attend workshops that will help you build your next career. And then day 2 is the hiring event, which will be at the 16th Cab Hangar. We're very much appreciative to you for the use of that. And we have registered over 150 employers that will be on site that day. This is open to transitioning service members, our military spouses, and veterans who are seeking employment. The day before, we're going to kick it off specifically for our military spouses, where we have with MOA, they're hosting a military spouse employment symposium. This is a great opportunity for military spouses to hone in on all their different skills, get their resume up to par, work on interview skills, and so we highly encourage our military spouses to come out and participate in this. It's a fun event. And then just to keep going with our military spouse employment program, we have so many opportunities here with the businesses in this area up and down the I-5 corridor that want to hire our military spouses. If you're not tracking, Governor Inslee signed an executive order holding local businesses in Washington state to be military spouse friendly. And so we have another opportunity here to a career challenge. This is like a reverse job fair. It's on 3 days, October 3rd, 10th, and 17th. I wanted to put it out now because it'll be not in time for our next Garrison update. So we'll be sending this out through our various websites. And then in recognition of Gold Star Mother's Day, we are co-hosting an event with our partners on Camp Murray. And so this is an opportunity for any Gold Star family member to participate. They're going to have a tour of the Washington National Guard Aviation Readiness Center. It's a beautiful facility. And there will be hors d'oeuvres in there, and also it's an opportunity to just converse with other Gold Star family members, and we'll have staff on hand. So please get that out to your Gold Star families. Any questions for me? Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more. Voting. So we no longer have a dedicated voting staff. So we are promoting voting online. So here is all the information on how you register to vote and everything you need to know about voting. If your units need any support with voting, we're certainly able to answer some basic questions, but we're going to redirect you back to this website because everything you need is there. We are in the electronic age, and so we really encourage folks to utilize those tools that are on the voting website. All right. Where's Captain? Oh.
Good morning. I'm Kathy with the Environmental Division. I'm the Sustainability Outreach Coordinator for the Directorate of Public Works. And right now you've probably seen some smoke flying over JBLM, maybe some signs along the sides of the road that talk about prescribed burn. So I just want you to know we're still burning. We're going to keep burning as long as we can until October. We've done 61 prescribed burns, and of course there's always wildfires in the summertime in the artillery impact area that we can't get in there to put out. So sometimes you'll see smoke burning, but we are usually on site taking care of that, and we do have the fire response to take care of that. Next slide, please. It's back to school time, so everybody, we want to talk about reduce, reuse, recycle. So once again, make sure you're buying stuff that has recycling content in it, that doesn't come with too much packaging. Be cognizant of the stuff that you don't need. Maybe you could join a buy nothing group and trade with friends, switch stuff out. Next slide, please. So we have a Go Lewis McChord program here on JBLM, and it's our alternative transportation program. This is a great way to get moving around the base. We have 6 bike locations, and you can check out a bike for up to 2 weeks. Anybody that's 18 and over is a DOD card holder, and this is a wonderful opportunity to get out there and ride. We are looking for a spot on North Fort, so if somebody would like to take care of, host a couple of bikes, again, Lewis North, we're looking for a place to put bikes. All right, any questions for me? Thanks. I'm going to pass this on to Diane Roberts. She's our new Air Program Manager.
I'm just going to go over the Go Lewis McChord. As Kathy said, it's an alternative transportation. It's basically 3 elements. Go Transit. If you're new to the installation, you might have seen some passenger vans with a Go Transit label on top versus like the Domino's. But this provides shuttle transport pretty much during the duty day for anyone. And they go from DuPont all the way through McChord. And this provides your soldiers with the ability, if they have to go to Waller Hall or they have to go to an appointment at Madigan, so that they don't have to take another soldier and transport that person where they need to go. So it enhances your readiness, keeps your soldiers that don't need to leave in your unit. And airmen, thank you very much. Kathy talked about Go Bikes. There's another element called Go Rideshare. It's van pools. If you're a civilian or even a unit where a lot of people congregate or live in the same area. And they are doing incentives right now with $100 gift cards and so on and so forth. But it's basically you get to use the vans at no cost. And if you're a single vehicle household, this will allow one vehicle to stay at home and you'll still be able to go to and from work. Next slide. I just want to go, sorry. Doesn't like that slide. Just to summarize the Go ridership, there's been some questions. There's about 250 riders a day, about 6,000 per month. We had a lull for a little bit because we weren't doing some outreach, but since outreach has increased, our ridership has increased. And there's a flyer on your table if you have any more questions or need any more information on this program. Does anybody have any questions right now? Okay, thank you.
Hey, on Go Transit, commanders, look at it as, so you look at the soldier going to an appointment, they don't have a vehicle, they're going from North Lewis, over to Madigan. They don't have a vehicle. How are they going to get there? they're going to ask for one of their soldiers, fellow soldiers, to take them. So now you're taking 2 soldiers out of the fight to get somebody to an appointment. But if they know about the transit, they can get on the van, go over to their appointment, and get back to their duty point, the place of duty, without taking another soldier out of the fight. So it's a win-win situation. So look at it that way. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Colonel Susie Scott, the Deputy Commanding Officer over at Madigan Army Medical Center. And on behalf of Colonel Bunt, I'd like to say thank you for allowing Madigan to give you an update this morning. Before I get started, we've got Ms. Julie Fortner in the back of the room. She's here to talk to you about school-based health services. So if you've got children that are enrolled in our schools in the community schools around JBLM, not on the installation itself, but in the communities around it, she can talk to you about our clinics that are available in the school for your kids, so your kids can use a classroom as their waiting room. A couple of months ago, for those of you that were present, I promised you a briefing on the MHS Genesis portal, and we're going to provide that to you today. I promised Alicia that I would limit this to 10 minutes, so if you have questions, what I'd like to do is I will be over by the camera after the conclusion of the presentations today, along with Mr. Anderson, one of our subject matter experts, and we will answer any questions that you have at that time. So MHS Genesis, the patient portal is really a great tool to connect you with your health care. It gives you access to your electronic medical record 24/7. It allows you to reach out and do secure messaging with your provider. You have all sorts of tools within the portal itself to be able to control your health care. Next slide, please. The first piece of this, though, is getting the ability to log on. Service members, you've got a CAT card, so any service member can log on to the MHS Genesis portal with your CAT card. Our family members, though, need their own DS logon account to be able to do that. So this slide gives you the instructions on how to create that DS logon account. To make sure that we've got the ability to give you secure messages for the individual, MHS Genesis will ask you, the DS logon will ask you to answer 4 questions in a 3-minute period about the individual that's requesting access, just to make sure that we've got the right individual. Once you get through that, you should get a DS logon that is good for 180 days before you have to renew the password on that. Next slide. Once you're into MHS Genesis Patient Portal, the other piece that you need is a premium access account. So once you log in, you'll see the login for the portal, and there's a button here circled to show you where to go to request premium access. Once you have that, you can log into MHS Genesis. Next slide. When in MHS Genesis, this is what you see on the initial screen. You'll notice that you have data here right at your fingertips with regard to your latest stats on the labs that you've had, your vital signs, height, weight, everything that you need to know. And then you've got a toolbar along the left-hand side and some quick link buttons up at the top to be able to provide you access to some frequently accessed buttons on here. Next slide. If you click on that health record tab along the left-hand side, you'll have access to a number of different things, to include a summary of your health information, problems, allergies, medications, more detailed information on results and measurements. You can search back, and I'll show you that in a minute. You've also got any results from radiology, pathology here on this slide, and then documentation of your visits. Next slide, please. You can actually do prescription renewal right in the MHS Genesis portal. So no more calling the clinic, leaving a message for your provider, waiting for them to call you back. You can do it right here on the portal. If you click on the prescription renewal button, it'll give you a list of all the medications that you have been prescribed through our system, and the name of the provider that prescribed those for you. And then there's a mechanism for you to be able to click on which ones you want renewed and which provider you want that to go to. And then how you want to be contacted if they have any questions for you via phone or via text. I do want to provide a little bit of a caveat here. You have to list the name of the provider that you want to have refill it. and it's not always searchable by that provider's name. For example, when I go see orthopedics for my gimp in my knee, if I want a prescription renewal, I have to put in orthopedics there for the provider. We're working on that. The folks at DHA are aware of that, and they're working those glitches in the system for you, but just so that you're aware of that. Next slide, please. You can also, as I mentioned, get detailed results of your past history and all the health information that you and your family members want to know to be able to track along. So if you want to know what your cholesterol level was a year ago, you can put the search bar engine to search for a year ago, and you can see what your cholesterol is and compare that to today and where you're at. Blood pressure, height, weight, body mass index, everything that you want or don't want to know is right here in this portion of the portal as well. Next slide. You can also request an appointment through MHS Genesis. If you click on the Schedule a New Appointment slide, one of the drop-down tabs is in the type of appointment, Request Appointment Online. If you click on that, then you can select dates and times that are preferable to you, and then someone from our clinic will give you a call back or send you a text with an appointment based on what you have requested in terms of those parameters. We don't yet have the ability for you to actually see all of the appointments available for all of our providers and click on a specific appointment for each provider yet. That will be coming in the future as we continue to make refinements to MHS Genesis. But at this point, you don't have to call the appointment hotline. You can actually do it right here in the patient portal. Next slide. You can also send messages, just like you did with Relay Health, to your providers through the MHS Genesis portal. If you click on the messaging and go to the inbox, you can create a message for your provider. Again, the first time you send a message to your provider, it's a little bit complex trying to find your provider's name, but once you send the first message, it'll auto-populate for you. So if you wanted to reply and pull up additional messages, you can continue that conversation. I've tested it, it works. And had great results communicating with my PCM right through the MHS Genesis portal. And then you can also look back at the history of your encounters with your providers as well. You can actually see what was documented in your electronic health record by your provider through the portal and looking at the documents section of this in the clinical notes. There's also a way for you to forward that information to other providers. If you're seeing another provider in the network and they ask for your information, you can request that through our patient administration department, or you can go on to the portal and have the information forwarded directly, personally, through secure messaging from you directly to your provider online as well. Next slide, please. There is also a portion for, oh, I'm way behind. I forgot to tell you slides. Keep going, please. And one more. And one more. There's also a point for frequently asked questions here as well. If you're stumped, please go to this page, and there's also a 1-800 number for folks to call should you have questions that can't be answered through the frequently asked questions section as well. So that was a very wave-top view of this. We do have subject matter experts at Madigan to be able to answer questions in our patient experience department and in managed care. Happy to answer those, and again, I'll be available over by the camera at the end of the briefing to be able, if you have any specific questions now. Thank you very much. I will take it, I'll come see you afterwards.
Good morning, Beth Wilson, Chief of the Housing Division, and I work for the Department of Public Works. I just wanted to remind the families that live on base in JBLM that there are some upcoming events that Lincoln is putting on. The spousal mixers, they have these every month. This month they're going to have shadow boxes. Next month they'll have signs that you can make for Halloween. These are all free, but they do need you to RSVP because there are limited spaces, and refreshments will be provided. Also, next month, they're going to have a movie night for families. They've already pushed out the information in last week's email with their newsletter. You can also go online, and that is where you will need to RSVP for these free events. Also, at the end, if you guys have any questions or want additional information, there are some folks here from Lincoln, from the community outreach folks that can help you with answer any questions that you may have. Any questions for me?
Good morning, Kelly Wetzel with MWR. A lot of things happening in September, a lot of things happening in October. We'll go through everything that we've got going on. The first big one is this Saturday, Wine and Jazz at the McChord Club. It's a wine tasting, food pairing, live jazz event. You can call and make reservations if you'd like. And if you would like to have the food pairing platters, you need to call the club and make a reservation that way. And then the other colorful slide there is the softball tournament coming up. We still have space for teams. You have until tomorrow to register your softball tournament team. So that was just a reminder to get things on the ball that way. Oktoberfest is coming back on the 21st of September to the MWR Fest tent. We have live German music. We've got great German food. Lots of different things for you to do. There are lots of activities for the kids to participate in. We've talked about grill and chill at the McChord Club for the last summer months. We're switching it up because it's been very popular and we know the weather's going to change. So now we're going to chill in the grill. We're going to move everybody inside to the grill. We're going to serve dinner there. We're going to have some other options on the menu that way because we were cooking outside. So we're going to add some things to the menu and bring everybody inside. It's still a great deal. Meals start at $9.55. And if you're a club member, you save $2 on top of that. So it's a pretty good deal for family dinners on base. And those are Thursday and Friday nights at the club. We're looking for family child care providers. On base, if you have folks in your squadrons or your units who have a spouse that stays at home, because they have children and it's like, I want to care for my own child, I'm going to stay in housing, I'm going to do that. They can actually make up to $2,000 a month by providing family child care in their on-base home. You provide child care for other military families and you can make money doing that. That way you can keep your own children at home. We have an orientation coming up and that's kind of where you get your first taste of what it's about. But we provide all kinds of equipment for your home. You become part of the USDA program, so you get money for food. All of that is involved in that program. We have a job fair coming up if you've got folks who would like to get jobs with Child and Youth Services and our business operations, so that's our food, beverage, and entertainment programs. Golf scramble coming up, and then the indoor soccer season starts at the end of this month. Next slide. So we were asked last month to provide an update about fitness, sports, and activities on base. So we're going to do this every quarter. So this is a rundown of what's happening at the fitness centers. The Wilson Center is still half under construction, so there's no 24/7 access until that construction is done. The remainder of our fitness centers are all open for business. Then as far as aquatics go, we had to close down the Shoreline Beach and the McChord Club because those are outdoor swimming activities, so we don't offer those all year round. Kimbrough Pool is closed and under construction until November. Keeler Pool is available by appointment. If you've got swimming training that you'd like to do with your unit or your squadron, you can do that at Keeler as long as you make an appointment. And Soldiers Fieldhouse is open. And then finally for intramural sports, flag football is ongoing. That's every Monday and Wednesday. Indoor soccer starts next month. Then the swimming starts in November. The Commander's Cup 5K, October 18th. The Turkey Trot run is coming up in November. And then we've got the Jingle Bell Jog, and that's in December time frame. And then a final slide. So there's a lot happening here. I want to focus on just a couple of things. The first is the Esports Madden 20 tournament. That's actually a huge deal. You'd think, oh, it's just a gaming tournament and a bunch of folks sit around and they play Madden. We actually have a really cool deal, and I've got some notes. We have some NFL players coming for that event. We have Seagulls coming for that event. The grand prize is a $500 Visa gift card, and it's to the team. It is absolutely free, and it is limited to 64 active duty member teams. So this is for active duty folks only who are 18 and older. And you can register at smash.gg/JBLM Warrior Zone. And then the event is going to be featured. I had no idea this existed. There is an esports television network. This event is going to be featured under the military esports show on the esports television network, and I guess it's on Hulu. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on base. This is a lot that's going on. So please, if you want more information, go to our website, the jblmmwr.com, and it'll redirect you. You can go to our Facebook page. You can load the JBLM 360 app, and you'll get information that way. Please go out and have a good time, and we'll talk more about the fun stuff happening next month. Thanks.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Sergeant Nagel Schuchman. I am the JBLM Boss President. Let me go over what we did last month. So we had our Suits for Service member out in Stellacum. Great turnout. It's always fun to go out there. They provide us food. We also had our designated driver program. So for those of you who are not aware, we have a weekend designated driver program that will pick up soldier members within a 15-mile radius of JBLM and bring them back to their barracks. So we're cutting down on the DUIs, for those of you not aware. Last month we helped 12 people. 12 people. We want to see those numbers get up, but that's 12 less DUIs on the installation. Next slide, please. All right, recreation and leisure. Last month we did stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, as well as we went to an escape room. Don't worry, we didn't escape. We're not going to be that great. The Mayan curse got us. And then we did whitewater river rafting over at the YTC Yakima area. It was a beautiful time. We had a great time. Next slide, please. What we got coming up? We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We had our Suits for Service member. We go out and assist the JBLM thrift store over here on Main JBLM. We have Oktoberfest coming up. We will be providing two things. We'll be providing a root beer float stand for all the children who decide to come out or those personnel who aren't of legal age to drink. And we will also be providing the designated driver van as well during the whole time. So anyone who goes out and drinks will have a way to get home without worrying about driving. As of last Saturday, we started our setup for the JBLM Theatrical Nightmare. Every year we go and do our haunted house over at Shoreline Park. Well, this is the setup for it. We'd love to have personnel come out. We have a flyer on everybody's table if you have further questions on that. We're going out to Washington Veterans Home out in Port Orchard, as well as, once again, the designated driver program. And we have our phone number at the bottom. I'll just read it out real quick for those of you who cannot see it. It is 253-208-9169, and we also accept volunteers for that program as well. Next slide, please. Oh, that's it. All right. Barring any questions, I will be passing it off to Colonel Brandt. Thank you.
Can you hear me? So back on esports, just so you all know. So how many people in here have kids that play video games? Lots of us probably, right? So Sergeant Major doesn't play video games. Well, I learned at the boss conference that there's people out there that make six figures playing video games. Not only do they make six figures, but they're sponsored by like the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys pay for an esports team, so they make six figures. Their house, their medical, their athletic training is all paid for, not included in their six-figure paycheck. I'm just saying. You know, we sit back and we're like, hey, you're going to go nowhere in life playing video games? Some people get there, just saying.
Good morning, Chaplain Brandt, the Garrison Chaplain. Just a couple of upcoming events for our Religious Support Office. We've got our Harvest Fest. Grace Gospel puts on a great event every year. They sponsor that. It's going to be at the MWR tent. Starts at 5:30 and runs till 8:30 on Halloween evening. Just a chance to, before the kids hit the streets and start knocking on doors, this opens up a little bit earlier than that, and they can come over and have fun at this event as well. Next slide, please. We have some Jewish High Holy Days coming up. If you're interested in that, you probably can't read all the dates and times on this, but there are three main events. Rosh Hashanah is coming, Sukkot, and Yom Kippur. So if you need some support on that, these slides will be on a religious support Facebook page. Just type in JBLM Religious Support, and you'll get to our Facebook page, and you can find that as well. Next slide. We kicked off a bunch of programs. This one that we're going to highlight this morning. Our Faith and Family Fun University, that's going to meet on Sunday afternoons at Main Post Chapel, and that's 3:30. That's Awana's program for the kids, and then we've got some adult programs as well. One in particular is our Reboot Trauma Combat Recovery, and then another is Introduction to the Bible, if you want to learn what that's all about. You can bring your kids, drop them off to the Awana, and then the parents can be involved in these studies as well. Other groups that we just kicked off this week, we've got our Catholic and Protestant women of the chapel are meeting on a weekly basis. We've got mothers of preschoolers that are meeting on a weekly basis. And both of those, all of those are one program in multiple locations. So we have programs going on at Main Post, Lewis North, as well as McChord Chapel Annex programs. So if you're interested in any of those programs, please let us know. We'll get you connected. Thank you, and God bless.
Good morning. I'm Janet Landon, the store manager at the Lewis Commissary. We wanted to let you know that the commissary will be closed the 17th and 18th of September for the perpetual inventory. During that time, McChord will be open, so everyone will have a place to shop. Their hours of operation will be 9 to 8 on both of those days. We will reopen normal hours on the 19th. If you have any if you need any additional information or have questions, Mr. Bailey, our assistant store director, will be happy to answer those for you. His name, email address, and phone number are at there. Anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? Next slide, please. During September, DECA always does back to school sales. So McChord's is kicking off the 16th through the 21st of September, which happens to be the time frame when we're closed. So it'll give you an opportunity to go to McChord, get some great deals, and have some fun at their sale. Next slide. The Lewis Main Commissary will have ours on the 27th through the 30th. We call it a sidewalk sale, but it is located inside due to the weather. We will be having it where we have been for the last few times in the warehouse area. So come and join us and save some money and have a good time. Does anyone have any questions?
Good morning, everyone. So let's see what we've got upcoming. The Princess Ariel was last weekend, very good event for all the children. This weekend we have our Play-Doh both at Lewis and McChord. That's 11 to 2 for the kids. Bring them out. They have a lot of fun enjoying doing that, making all the little critters and stuff. On the next slide we have new men's product at McChord main store. The Sierra Brava is a new men's line. It's medium priced. It's not as high end as your Jack Black, so lower in price point. Getting a good turnout for the gentlemen. You can check it out. It's currently not at Lewis with all the construction. Next big thing for both main stores is our free layaway for toys and stuff as we get into the holidays. They waived the $3 layaway fee, and as you see, that started on the 1st of September. So it's really good for the parents that need to hide the stuff from the kids. So this one here is going to start on the 13th. It's always a joy to do this for both the Army and the Air Force. Funds for every $25 that customers spend, they get a $5 coupon to use in both stores. So that's very good to help out all our soldiers and families. Good program on that. Other than that, that's all we've got. Oh, well, yeah, the one-day sale. This is, well, I want to say happy birthday to all our Air Force members and thank everyone for serving. This here is basically all, when they use your military star card, you see all the benefits you earn. They're extra on there, the food, the gas, and by using your star cards. And that's a good benefit too.
Hi, I'm Jamie Lynn with the Lewis Community Spouses Club. We have our first luncheon coming up on Thursday. We sold out, so that's closed. You can't register for that anymore. Our next event is in October. This is a really big one for us. You don't have to be a member to come to this. It's our costume party. It used to be mock dining in. Nobody knows what that is. So it's a costume party. We're playing bingo. That's going to be on McChord Club. I don't have a flyer for this one. You'll see it next month, but I want to start putting it out. We are hosting our first ever Nerf Wars for kids. So the Spouses Club is not going to be doing gift wrap at the PX anymore. You'll find out who's going to be running that hopefully at the next Garrison update or so, but it will not be us. So in lieu of that, we are doing Nerf Wars twice a year. The first one coming up is October 19th at the CYS North Fort Gym. There will be 2 age groups, so total 5 to 14. So your 5 to 9-year-olds will have an hour and a half to shoot Nerf darts at each other and targets. And then we'll have a little break, and then 10 to 14 will have their chances as well. There will be a waiver on our website that everyone will have to sign. Kids have to have protective eyewear at all times, and parents will be encouraged to stay to supervise those kids as well. I will have more information on that next month, but I want to start putting that out. It will go live on our website at the end of this week.
Good morning. My name is Shelley Heinzman, and I am the president of Santa's Castle. And on behalf of the elves of Santa's Castle, I am here to invite you to our open house on September 26th as we kick off our 25th season on JBLM. If you're unfamiliar with Santa's Castle, we are a resource that helps our service members who are struggling financially at Christmas time to get toys for their kids for Christmas. Last year, we served 921 families, which translated into 2,075 kids benefited from Santa's Castle, and we gave out over $200,000 worth of toys. These are our upcoming dates. Distribution is the first 2 weeks of December, Christmas time. But our deadline is November 8th. Usually, our referrals, because everybody who comes to Santa's Castle is referred to us by their chain of command. So the referrals open October 1st. Normally, they close November 1st. And then I get a call and ask if I can push it back. This year, I've already pushed it back. It's already to November 8th. And then our website will go closed. That doesn't mean that if you miss the deadline that your service members won't get to participate. We will accept everybody who is referred to us. It's just that logistically we need to close it, and then we will need to have you call us. So that's all that reason for that deadline. We are in need of a couple unit representatives, one from First Corps and one from Garrison, and anybody else who would like to help us push out the referral information so we can get it down to the units and to the command teams, because I have a castle full of toys and we need to get rid of them. So that's all I have. So please come and see us on the 26th and enjoy some cake.
Sarah Luna, South Sound Military Communities Partnership. I get 10 minutes? I'm just kidding. This is just to highlight all of some of the key members that we have as part of our organization. We are a membership organization, and you can see we're working with the city managers, administrators, the top level leadership, and the jurisdictions surrounding JBLM. Next slide, please. And the reasons why is because in 2005, BRAC happened. That highlighted the importance of the military mission to the South Puget Sound. And if something were to happen to that military mission, what does that mean for the communities? A lot of money. We'll talk some more about that in a little bit. But from the 2010, there was a growth coordination plan. We work a lot off of what was established at that time. And in 2011, SSMCP, South Sound Military and Communities Partnership, was established. So you have an organization outside the wire that's advocating for you, and we work very closely and are very grateful for that close partnership with JBLM leadership. Next slide, please.
Some of the ways that the areas of focus, we have various working groups, so there may be opportunities to have, by authorization, different leaders from JBLM to participate in our different working groups. And we are also always looking forward to that feedback of what are some things that we can do, what's a message we can share with the community, and how we can best support the military mission. We have education, healthcare, social services. Those are the working groups that I facilitate. We also have business and economic development and transportation. All that construction that's being done, that's in large part because of the advocacy from SSMCP and getting the funding for that. And it will continue because we continue to grow in the South Puget Sound because of the great support that the communities have for the military. Elected Officials Council held twice a year, and this is where the community members are given and the leadership are given more insight, and this includes congressional members, Senate representatives, legislative advocacy, so we do have a formal legislative agenda that we build on and advocate down at the Capitol. JBLM workforce surveys, that happens typically every 2 years. And next slide, please. And some of the information that we get from our service members, this is some of what's highlighted, which often isn't captured in other means. So we will do this again in the near future. Next slide, please. Talking about that economic impact, SSMCP was the first organization to do an analysis of the regional economic impact. In that first analysis, we know that this number, $9.2 billion, is low. So we're doing another phase of this analysis this year, and that should be out sometime in June, and we'll report back on what that number was. Next slide, please. Local businesses. Some of the businesses are very aware of the impact of the military community on their businesses. Others are not as aware. And we are going to define that and get some more feedback from businesses on what are some ways that we can further support one another. Next slide, please. Coming up, we are also supported by the Office of Economic Adjustment. Transportation alternate routes outside of I-5. We know all too well from the 2017 train derailment that we have to have something besides I-5 to get our service members, our personnel to installation for mission security and readiness. Housing. This is focusing on off-installation housing. So very interested in hearing how everyone's experiences are for those who live off installation. How can we do some better coordination, referral programs that could be available. Conservation banking, all those little critters that impose and impact our mission training. We're looking at where are some other places that they might be able to go. Next slide. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'm going to stick around, and thank you.
Okay, before, oh, you're doing cyber? Oh.
Surprise. I'm Dan Vessels from the Anti-Terrorism Office. We want to take a couple minutes this morning and talk to you about what we see as one of our growing threats to the installation. And these are some tips that you can do at home or share with your family members that can make them more secure. Okay, the first one is the phishing. There's sites out there nowadays that will make an email come to you that looks real, authentic, but it's actually got malware implanted in it. And their new threat is that you don't have to click on a link. It automatically downloads a program into your Windows and uses a Windows backdoor to be able to get onto your computer, okay? So pay attention. Don't open anything from somebody that you don't know, and always check the email address to make sure it came from a legitimate source. Social networking. It grows and grows and grows. We have local folks around here, anti-war and anarchists, who daily monitor all the social media feeds coming off this installation, okay, because they really don't like us, so they try to use whatever they can to glean information. And that includes family readiness groups. That includes our organizations on the installation. So when you put stuff out on social media, make sure that you've did a good OPSEC review of it. Keep a clean machine. Don't keep stuff on your machine, your phone, your tablet that you don't need. Because if somebody was to exploit you, they can get stuff that you may not want them to have. Lock down your logins. There are password programs out there that will help you create a password for each and every site and store those securely so you know that if one becomes compromised, not all your sites are available to them. back up your information. If you can, get an external hard drive, put it on your computer, back up everything that you have, and put it on that external hard drive and unplug it. Okay, that way if you were to get hit with one of those malwares or ransomwares, you have all your information, you don't have to pay someone to get it back. And lastly, secure your Wi-Fi routers. You can drive around this installation, you continue to ping off of Wi-Fi routers, okay, from homes. Some people have them in their cars, their phones become a Wi-Fi hotspot. Make sure you have secure passwords for those things. Thank you.
Okay, before I turn it back over to Colonel Duncan, I forgot up front to remind you that all these slides will be on both the JBLM DPFR website and the JBLM MWR website, and the JBLM main page will have them up there this afternoon. So, Colonel Duncan, over to you.
Thank you. This is a new app that, while this is not a government app, I do want to make sure you all are aware of this. These folks have helped us out with putting JBLM specifically. It's the center third one down there. Because it's a civilian app, they're not using our trademark logo, but that's JBLM right there, third one down in the center. So a new innovative app that allows you to find your way around base. It gives you GPS coordinates and building location. It is still in construction. It's probably, I would guess, halfway populated right now. So keep an eye on that as we continue pushing that out. I'm going to mention something else about apps in a second. First of all, I just want to say thank you again to Chaplain Brandt for helping us recognize 9/11 again. Congratulations again to our 3 awardees. Thank you for continuing to support JBLM across the entire installation. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to MAMC for the great information on the innovation with MHS Genesis, which began here at JBLM, is now populating throughout the rest of the DoD. Thanks to DECA and to AFES, and a big shout out to SSMCP, who briefed just a second ago, South Sound Military Communities. A lot of that work that all of those partners do is sort of in the background, right? I mean, these people are working their full-time jobs supporting us, and it seems a little bit invisible, and then we see these massive muscle movements, like SSMCP mentioned, these big partnerships. I love that information because it helps us be more joint, more family, and more community-oriented. So thank you again to all of our partners. We have a ton of great information in these slides, as you saw. And you have the availability of the slides now that we've completed this briefing and they're rolled up. We're always making changes and additions up to the last second on these. A ton of great info on these, and we're going to continue that because this is a great avenue to put out. I know it's 1,000 things, but take a look at the slides. And another thing we're going to start doing is start putting up QR codes where you can take your phone and scan it right up here on the slide deck or off the paper slides. Take it to apps, take it to web pages where you can find more information if you're interested in that information. If you're not, then you go on to the next slide and you find the information that you do want to see. We're trying to innovate ourselves as well as we're a lot of our partners are innovating. We need to innovate as well with all of our information, and we're working on that. Just like we've done with the Hiring Our Heroes. They started out here at JBLM and now they've gone DoD wide. I mentioned MHS Genesis already. We're innovating in the esports, as you heard earlier. MWR, and by the way, while I'm on MWR, I'll give a shout out again to that family child care program. We've had a lot of comments about we have a long wait list at some of the child care facilities. This is one way around it, is to please get out the information to your airmen and your soldiers that if they have the capability in their home to provide this child care. There's a lot of benefits to them as a provider. And of course, it helps our entire community because it'll decrease some of those wait lists. We continue a lot of things. This is a massive base, a lot of things going on. We're burning things with the burning program. We're building things. We're moving things, including decrepit and forgotten vehicles. We are repaving things. There's a ton going on around here. And the people behind it are all the critical piece that I'm glad you're able to see here in this venue. Okay, before I close out, Colonel White, anything from you all? Anything from 7th Infantry Division? Good, thanks. Colonel Langford, anything from 62nd? Okay. Do we have anything else, or am I the last? All right, I'll just say thank you again. Have a great day.